Welcome to We Help You Home, the podcast dedicated to helping seniors and caregivers age well at home. The holidays are often described as a season of joy, connection, and celebration, but for many families, especially those who have lost a loved one or are anticipating a loss, this season can feel heavy, lonely, and overwhelming. Today, we're talking about grief and the holidays, what it looks like, why it can feel intensified during this time of the year, and most importantly, how to navigate it with compassion, grace, and realistic expectations. So whether you're grieving the loss of a spouse, a parent, a child, a friend, or even the loss of health and independence, this conversation today is something that you will benefit from. So today we're joined by our guest, Chaplain Mari Reyes. And Chaplain, it's good to have you here with us today. And before we dive into our conversation, we want our listeners to really get to know a bit about who you are. So, Mari, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my name is Mari Reyes. I am so honored to be here first and foremost to be able to share on such an important topic, I think. But I have been in Texas for most of my life. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. Been doing hospice for quite some years now, about 8 years now. And I absolutely love this job with my whole heart, especially working for ATEX, such a great company.
Well, you're always such a pleasure to be around. And ever since the first time I met you, I've always enjoyed being around you and learning from you, even about your work, and appreciate the work that you do. So tell us, what does a typical day look like for you when you're supporting patients and families?
Well, every day is a different day because I tailor my day to my patients, and every patient needs something different. As a chaplain, we offer spiritual support, of course, for our family, for our patients and their families. But everybody, that looks different to every patient. And so every day we go out and meet with our patients and offer the best that we can for their spiritual needs and their emotional needs, just to support them and let them know that in this season and in every season that they're not alone. They have somebody that they can talk with, that can give them encouragement, pray. So honestly, every day is different. Every day looks different because we want to make sure we're not just robots. We're tailoring our support per patient.
Yeah, that's great. Everybody has individual needs that are different than others, and meeting those needs is what you're all about. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Is there something that you wish more people understood about chaplaincy or spiritual care, especially in hospice?
I think that people are scared of that word hospice, especially. And then when you bring the title chaplain into that, they tend to be worried, like, hey, what is it? You need me right now? I'd like people to know that as a hospice chaplain, we're here to just be here in the moment with you, whether it's the final moments or it's just this whole experience, to be more comfortable reaching out and being okay with having a chaplain, visit you, because that's what I want to do. I just want to spend some time with you and offer what I can in this delicate moment. So just to not be so threatened by the words hospice or by the words chaplain, because we're just here to support.
And you're a very talented person. You play guitar and you're bilingual and bilingual. Chicago, that's got to be some kind of talent all in its own. I was up there not long ago and it was about 6 degrees outside. And I actually said about 3 different times, why would anybody live here? It's so cold. But outside of work, is there something that you enjoy or a tradition that's meaningful to you, especially during the holidays?
Honestly, I love baking. That is my go-to for my stress relief. That is my go-to when I'm bored. I love baking. So especially during the holidays, we've got the banana nut bread going. We've got the cookies going, the cupcakes. That is my favorite thing to do all year round, but especially during the holidays.
Thank you for sharing with us a little bit today about who you are. And we're grateful for the heart that you bring to this work of helping others.
Honestly, definitely.
So, Mari, from your experience as a chaplain, why does grief often feel more intense during the holidays?
Well, holidays tend to trigger memories, and you tend to and think about not just this moment, but the moments that you've had that are similar to this one. And so, if you've lost somebody close to you, it can be heavy because you're remembering the times when they were there. And so it's okay. I don't want you to think. I had somebody ask me the other day, I just want the holidays to be over with. Is that bad? It's not bad, because all that is making you remember who you loved, which is means that you're manifesting the love that you had for that person. And it's okay, because that looks different to everybody. So it could be heavier at this time. And I just want people to know that that's okay, because everybody grieves differently. And so you're doing okay. You're still doing good.
That's sometimes the idea we get in our head is that, well, there's something wrong with me because I'm not grieving like somebody else is. But grief is very personalized, just like providing chaplain care for someone is personalized, isn't it?
Yeah.
Many people feel guilt either for feeling sad or for moments when they do feel okay. What would you say to someone that's struggling with guilt during the holidays?
I want you to know that you are okay. Uh, What you feel right now is valid, and it is okay. How you grieve and how you manage these moments, um, you're doing the best that you possibly can. And so that's different for everybody. And how you are needing to get through them and how you're grieving. I just want you to know you're okay. It's okay, because what you're doing is different. Don't feel guilty about not being able to be as happy as other people, because you're in a different season than other people. You're grieving. And don't feel guilty if you are happy and you are, celebrating the holidays. That's okay, because that's a representation of love. And you remember and you want to keep traditions going. That's okay too. Don't feel guilty, because everybody's different and everybody grieves differently.
Good words of encouragement there and good words of advice. Thank you. For those who are people of faith, or even those questioning their faith, how can spirituality play a role in navigating grief during the holidays?
That's a great question, because if you are strong in your faith and you're struggling in this moment, you tend to think, is there something wrong with me? I think we have to remember that very definition of faith is believing without seeing. And so having faith means not having all the answers. And so I feel like I'm going to say it's okay 100 times in this podcast, because I think that's the most important thing for you to understand, that it's okay. Grief will bring questions that you may never have the answers to. But if you rely on your faith, then that can bring peace even without the answer.
Yeah. And probably hearing that's okay and you're okay and what you're doing is okay is probably the best advice we could give somebody dealing with grief right now, is that you are exactly where you need to be on your journey. And it's okay. What are some practical ways families and caregivers can support seniors who may be grieving during this season?
I think one of my main ministries as a chaplain is ministry of presence. Just being there for your loved ones. Sometimes I come into a room and there's not much I can say. But just having in your mind, knowing that somebody's there. So if your loved ones are struggling, what do I say? I've said everything over and over and over again. Sometimes just being there and acknowledging them, acknowledging their grief, can do wonders for them. So be there for them. Be there. I know this is hard. Acknowledge their grief. I don't know what to say. I don't want to bring up this name anymore, because then they're going to start crying, or it's going to trigger hurt. No, acknowledge the person that they lost. Acknowledge the season that they're in, and just sit with them in it. That's the best thing that you can do for somebody that's grieving. It's just offer to be there, even if it's just for a little while, to sit with them in their grief.
I think that sometimes we don't know what to say. We feel like we have to say something, or we feel like we have to give answers to people that are grieving. And so since we don't know what to say, we will avoid them altogether. And that's really not helpful either, is it?
No.
And people don't necessarily need answers. They just need, like you said, the ministry of presence, just being there with them, sitting there with them in their grief and letting them know that they're not alone.
Exactly.
Very valuable, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you could leave our listeners with one gentle reminder as they head into the holidays, what would that be?
Do I need to do that? I would have to say just be kind to yourself. Give yourself the room. Give yourself grace. What you're going through is real, and nobody, even if somebody else lost somebody, the room, it's still a different situation. Only you know what you're feeling and what you're going through. And if I can just leave one thing with you, is to give yourself some grace. Give yourself, it's okay. It's okay. You're doing okay. You're doing the best that you can. Sometimes you can't take it day by day. Sometimes you can't even take it hour by hour. Sometimes you can only take it minute by minute, breath by breath. It's okay. You're doing the best that you can, and trust me, give yourself the grace for that.
Be easy on yourself.
Yeah.
That's the best way to love yourself sometimes, isn't it? Give yourself that grace and love. Yeah. All right. We're going to pause for a moment here for a quick break, and we'll be right back.
At ATEX Home Health and Hospice, we believe home is where healing and comfort truly happen. Our team proudly serves families across San Antonio, Austin, Corpus Christi, and the Rio Grande Valley. We offer compassionate care that helps loved ones stay right where they belong, at home. To contact us or to learn more about our home health and hospice services, visit atexhealth.com. That's ATEX Health.com.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation about grief with Chaplain Mari Reyes and the holidays, as she is a chaplain with ATEX Home Health and Hospice Company. The holidays have a way of magnifying emotions. Traditions, memories, music, smells, and family gatherings can all trigger feelings of loss. Mari, what are some ways that grief shows up?
So grief can come where you're just having a regular time, and all of a sudden you have a memory, and then you just get sad, just instantly feel sadness. Grief can show up like anxiety, being worried and anxious about how you're going to be when your family shows up, what's going to happen in those moments. You can feel anxious about just the day coming up of the holiday. What am I supposed to do without, this person, and how that can be different. Grief can show up in guilt. You can feel guilty all of a sudden for having a good moment instead of sitting there and feeling, sad about the person that you lost. It can show up as guilt. The important thing to remember when grief does show up is that to give yourself the moment, however it shows up, whether it being in sadness, anxiety, anger, give yourself that moment. Take a second, go to a room, go to a quiet place, go through that emotion. Don't try to hide it, try to compress it. Just for the moment, go somewhere quietly, get through that moment, breathe through it, and know that that's okay. What you're feeling is okay because you're going through the process of grieving.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's good advice. And one of the most important things to remember is simply that there is no correct way to grieve during the holidays. And I've often heard people say things like, that person is too happy to be grieving, or that person should get over that by now, or that person cries too much, or that person's not crying enough. And in reality, there's no right or wrong way for you to grieve. As long as you're not harming yourself, is what I see it as. What's your thoughts on that, Chaplain?
I think you have to remind yourself that there's no cookie cutter to grieving, to that process. It's not a one for all process. It's tailored to however you need it. And I think if you remember that it's okay for you to be happy in moments, it's okay for you to be sad in moments, and even saying no to things. I think some people feel bad about hey, I'm not where this other person is. They're over there having a great time. I really don't want to be over there. Sometimes it's okay to say no. Sometimes it might be too much for you, and that's okay. You can say no. You can not participate in everything that you're not ready to. You just have to be honest with yourself of what you're ready to take on and what you're able to participate with. I do encourage, though, our patients and those grieving that if you feel just a little bit that you are able to, then not saying no and being around people does tend to help. Having you surround yourself with people that love you and that are there for you. But yeah, it's okay to say no if you can't.
So sometimes it's okay to be alone and it's okay to take time for yourself, but too much alone time could also not be helpful as well.
That's right.
And if you're supporting someone who's grieving, especially a senior or a caregiver, your presence, as we talked about earlier, it really matters more than your words. What are some ways we can support others who are grieving?
I think the ministry of presence, being there, sitting with them in their grief, acknowledging how they feel. Um, I think one mistake that some people make is trying to let the person know, well, I know what you're going through because we've gone through a similar loss. There's no way that I could, even if if I had lost, my mother, and I'm with a patient that has lost their mother, even though the situation is similar, I can't say I know what you're going through because it's different. That I'm a different person than you. So I would not stay away from that term, but just be there. Hey, I'm sorry for what you're feeling right now, but I'm here. I love you. I'm here for you. I'm praying for you, not hiding and trying to avoid, bringing up the name of the person that has, passed or just altogether grieving, just not dealing with it at all. If you love somebody, be there for them. Whatever they may need from you, just as much as you can, be there.
Great advice, and this is really a great topic that we've just scratched the surface on this podcast today. But do you have some closing thoughts or words of wisdom you want to share with us before we end this episode today?
I think right now, realizing that even if you yourself are not going through a loss, that acknowledging that there are a lot of people right now that are experiencing loss and that are going through their grieving um, process. Be kind. Let's be kind to people, even if it's not, a loved one. Just at the store when you're going through this crazy shopping experience for all the last minute Christmas shoppers like me, be kind because you don't know if the person that's in front of you has just lost somebody that they love so dearly, and that's why they're not in the best mood ever. You can't control how everybody else acts, but we can control how we act. So just be kind. Be kind everywhere you go. In all situations, show love. That's what Christ tells us, to love like Him and to show love to everybody, even our enemies. And if you are somebody that is grieving in this moment, I want you to know that you're going to be okay. You're going to make it through this season. Even if you have no one beside you, God is there. He promises in His word that He will never leave you or forsake you. And He's going to be with you in this hard moment and every single one to come after that. You are not alone.
Thank you so much, Chaplain. If you or someone you know is struggling with grief, especially during the holidays, I want you to know that support is available. Look for support groups near you. You can look on the internet and find different support groups with churches and organizations. You could contact a hospice company and ask about support groups in your area. One thing about hospice service is people that have been on services with us, their families get bereavement support for a year afterwards. And so be sure to utilize those supports and those resources that are available to you. If the holidays feel heavier this year, please hear this. Your grief is valid and you are not alone. Joy and sorrow really can coexist together. And holding space for grief doesn't mean that you've lost hope. It really just means that you've loved deeply in your life. So thank you for joining us on this episode of We Help You Home. If this episode resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone that you know that may need it. Like, subscribe, and share it with others. And remember, you're not alone on this journey.